What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. This video is entitled The NFL Social Justice Pledge. Now, recently, everybody been talking about the Kaepernick kneeling for over a year plus. You know what I'm saying? And people been wanting to know where it's gonna go. You had people on one side thinking it was a waste of time, and then you have people on another side, thinking that it stirs conversation, and it will lead to something bigger. So this pledge is something bigger. But we got a problem. Some of the players aren't seeing eye to eye, which to me isn't really a big deal. But I'll tell you how I look at it from both sides. You got to give Kaepernick credit for this, because whatever Michael Jenkins and Anquan Bolden do at this particular point, it all started with Colin Kaepernick. So to not have him in this mix is really not a good look, in my opinion. That part is not a good look, because if you're gonna say you started kneeling and protesting because of what y'all saw, y'all could get behind Kaepernick's cause, and you could see how he got blackballed, but now you can't. I guess he's a little too radical or too much for what's going on. I see a problem with that. Because first and foremost, y'all didn't kneel at first. Y'all didn't take no stance on this. So I think the fact that you can't involve him, or he's like X'd out of the equation, it's not a good look. I think that's wrong. I also think, and I'm gonna get on both sides of this story, because both sides doing something dead wrong to me. The other thing about it is this. The other players have another issue about not getting along. And here's my problem, because it was proposed the league is basically going to put $89 million to use over the next 7 years. But it's kind of like a conditional thing. So they might not even get most of that money. But one thing Malcolm Jenkins said about it was, it wasn't just the money that he was looking for, it was the platform. So he was getting to use the platform. And I think people are overlooking the importance of that. The irony is the NFL is 70% black. They take on causes for breast cancer. That doesn't affect men. That affects women. But that affects people's mothers and wives, right? So they're taking on Hispanic heritage, right? What does that have to do with the NFL? I don't know. What does that have to do with the players? I don't know. But I guess it's a way to reach out to new fans and get Hispanic fans to watch. But I don't think a lot of Hispanic people see their own face in the NFL. I mean, I think the only people that you would consider would be Anthony Munoz, Tony Gonzalez, and he's half black, so I don't know if people want to count him when it's convenient or not. When it's inconvenient, I don't know. And forgot Garza, Castillo, but they're linemen, like mostly linemen, no skill positions. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the problem with that. So they can have funds for that. They have funds for all these other causes. And they use their platform for these other causes. Why not use their platform for social justice? But my problem is social justice. See, I think the black players need to just be more specific and say, this is black causes. Real talk. Because everybody else's cause doesn't include us. So why, and nobody has a problem with that. Our cause shouldn't include everybody else. That's just my opinion. You know, we need to stop being so caring and loving for everybody else. Until they show us that kind of love, we can't say nothing. And at this point, in some ways, you can't say the NFL didn't show you love at the end of the day, because even if they're trying to keep it hush-hush, they putting $89 million behind it, which I got to get on the money. It was also said that Malcolm Jenkins was proposing that the players, the black players, start putting in money and pooling money for their causes specifically. Like, instead of always having somebody finance our cause, we should finance our own cause. And being millionaires, you would think that these guys shouldn't have a problem with that. And some of the guys had a problem with that, from my understanding. I could be wrong, but from my understanding. Now, I've been wanting to say, I don't think people like athletes, entertainers, and people that make it out the hood should necessarily give back to the hood, because a lot of times the hood pushed them out. But in this one, I got to make a caveat for this, because this is a group of individuals who can come together and pool together their money and pick specific things to do to better the black community. So you got a brain trust or whatever, when they come up with a good idea to fix something, I don't see the problem. I mean, because now you got a collective group of people. On an NFL platform. Also, you got to think about the cities. There's going to be at least 25, maybe 20, at least 20 cities I can think of off the top of my head that you can affect change in the black community using the NFL platform. Because don't get it twisted. A lot of these athletes help everybody else's causes because the NFL tells them to. They do these little events for other people. They go to these other neighborhoods and, you know, have events and bring business to people's neighborhoods and have pictures on the wall of these athletes. They sponsor certain things. They use their celebrity and the NFL platform to further other people's agendas and causes. It isn't about money all the time, but it helps people make money, and it helps people bring awareness to their plight, and it helps bring people around to involve themselves also. Now, you might feel like, you know, Jenkins and Bolden might have sold people out. Yeah, I think it's in the middle, honestly. This is why I think the Kaepernick thing is a bad look, because Kaepernick was one guy after he got exiled to still put his money where his mouth is. He put $1 million of his jersey money up and used it for charity. And that's the thing about it. I don't want these guys to do stuff for charity. per se. Charity doesn't do anything. Presence, platforms, and practical ideas with backing that people are willing to follow through does things. It gets things done. And what I mean by that is this. See, guys lost endorsement deals because of this. So these guys should be getting endorsed by other people in up and coming years, and they can use that as money to help, right? If they chose to. You've had guys in the NFL help sell cars, help bring awareness to domestic violence. And this is one of the things that I didn't agree with Eric Reed about. He got mad and said, you shouldn't take money from other charities or things that the NFL is divert funds from one thing to their thing. He just wanted their thing to be separate. Why not? I mean, in a league that's 70% black, right? The advertisers are there giving money because, and that's due to 70% of you guys that are black. The fans are buying tickets because of 70% of you guys that are black. The money that's being made, 70% of that is on black labor. And you're mad that they're funneling funds away from other people's causes? I mean, let's be honest. How many people with breast cancer participate in the NFL? You know who the male face of breast cancer is to this day? Richard Roundtree, Shaft. And I'm not trying to talk bad about cancer. I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just using this as examples. Domestic violence. I get that because a lot of players got in trouble for domestic violence, so you got to clean it up. And you need to fix that problem. Hispanic Heritage Month. To have a whole month dedicated to Hispanic causes. Historically, how many Hispanics have been in the NFL? How many of them have contributed to the NFL? As a fan base, there are a lot of Hispanics fans. There are a lot of Hispanic fans. I'm not gonna say they're the overwhelming, near the majority, because they're not. They're not at all. But there are a lot. They are ticket buyers and apparel buys and all that other stuff. They do that. But the moneymakers are on the field. So that's the thing. Who cares about these other groups? They don't care about you. Because when they have causes, do they include black people in those causes? No. No, they don't. The veterans, I get it. The military paid them to do the anthem in the first place, so I get that part, right? Plus, we all have family members who've been in the military, so, for us to say anything bad about the military and veterans when we've all benefited in some way from the military or military personnel, that's stupid. And that's arrogant, to be perfectly honest. But I also say this. How many military personnel have been in the NFL? The guy from the Steelers, I know. Pat Tillman, everybody knows. I think Darren Sproles also. It's a few others. I got to go back to people like Roger Staubach, but it's other that was more current. I know that, but I just can't think of it off the top of my head. So, to me, the pledge is cool. I think the players need to get behind what Jenkins was talking about as far as putting your own money up, because a lot of times if other people put the money up, they make all the rules and the decisions, and guess what? Now, the corrupted part wasn't because you had the figurehead. The corrupted part was because you didn't back your own thing. And the other thing I got to say about this is just a starting point. We got to learn to understand we're going to bump heads when it comes to doing things, because if the players can come together and do this right, don't you think the NBA is going to try to follow suit, which helps more people? Because if the NFL players do a good grassroots thing in these next 7 years, NBA players are going to want to do it too. Then these entertainers are going to want to, and other entertainers are going to want to do it too. And these other business people who've been in the shadows for years doing stuff on the low, they're going to come out too. So it'll help the community exponentially. That if we come together collectively and make this work, but we have to be a united front. You know, Kaepernick got to be there. Reed, you got to be there too, even if you don't like everything. You know, and all the other players, you got to come aboard, because you can't. Here's the thing: you can't protest, right? And then complain about what happens after the protest. You were front and center to create it. You should be there to have a say when it happens too. You know, you should. You absolutely should. You shouldn't be blocked of that. And you shouldn't walk away from that either, because you don't like what you see so far. You could change it in time. You knew you was going to have problems when you kneeled, so you knew you was going to have to deal with that. So you should know you're going to have problems in the beginning of this negotiation process. So you should be able to deal with that also. So in my opinion, I mean, y'all just need to get together and work it out, because all you players have been doing things for all other demographics and all other communities, and now you're disjointed when it's time to do something for your own. I think that is my problem with that. We out.